Many different engines live on the island of Sodor. Some of them are big, some of them are fast, but there is no engine on Sodor that is as big or as fast as Gordon. Unfortunately, Gordon knows this, and it makes him very boastful, especially in the sheds.
You know, there is a reason Sir Topham Hatt keeps me as the sole express engine. It's because there is no other engine that could possibly match me.
And whenever Gordon is being boastful, there is always an engine that tries to bring him down off of his high horse, and that engine is usually Emily.
Oh, really? No one matches your skills? What about Henry? Hasn't he pulled the express sometimes?
Only when I'm out of order, and he's not nearly as fast as me. Pah!
What about James?
He's a mixed traffic engine. He'll never reach the same heights as me. What?
What about Bear?
Bear? Well, he's prone to failure just by being a diesel.
Excuse me?
What about me?
Emily, I don't mean to be rude, but you're the definition of unfit for the big express. You'd break down trying to take that thing.
I'm sure I could do it easily, and at least I'd be trying, unlike you, in your ability to shut your mouth.
Why, you little...
And just like that, Emily and Gordon were in a heated battle. As much as Emily would try to bring Gordon down a peg, it rarely worked, and the engines would just have to hope that the two would stop fighting eventually. And sometimes, eventually could be very, very long. The next day, Gordon was taking the Bid Express to Vickerstown. It was a long train, but everything was going smoothly. That was until... whoosh! And suddenly, Gordon was going slower and slower with steam billowing all around him.
What has happened? Asked Gordon. I feel so weak. It's almost like the time...
You burst your safety valve, said his driver. You can't pull the train anymore.
Oh dear, said Gordon. We were going so nicely, too, and now the others will laugh at me.
And they did. And who better to make fun of Gordon first than Emily?
Well, she said. So much for being fit for the Bid Express. To think that you, of all engines, would break down.
Oh, shut up, said Gordon. Now, are you going to help me?
No, I have a train to collect. Bear's coming up. He'll be able to help you.
And Emily chuffed away.
Oh, the indignity.
At last, Bear arrived. It's ironic, he said. The engine that said I was prone to failure ends up failing himself.
I know, said Gordon. Sorry for being rude to you. I'm grateful for your help, and some time away from Emily at the works.
She means well, said Bear. She's just not good at stopping you from boasting. And after that, Bear took Gordon and the Bid Express to the next station. Now that Gordon was being repaired at the works, the other engines had to help with the Express. Henry, James, and Bear got the chance to show how good they were at pulling the Bid Express. But Emily never got the chance. However, one day before Gordon was scheduled to return from the works, Henry, James, and Bear had other jobs to do. This was Emily's big chance.
Hello, Emily, said Sir Topham Hatt. I need an engine to pull the express today, and the other engines are busy, so...
Oh, I'd be happy to help, sir.
That's good, but be careful. This is a big train.
Oh, I will be careful, sir, and I'll have something to brag about to Gordon when he gets back tomorrow.
And so Emily puffed to the station. Emily had to wait a little while before her coaches arrived, but once they did, she got all excited again. The passengers climbed aboard and the doors slammed shut. The conductor then blew his whistle. Emily started to go, but she quickly realized how heavy the train was.
Phew, she said. I just need to get going, and then it'll be easy.
Emily eventually did get the hang of things as she puffed down the track. She was starting to have fun pulling the Bid Express. But the more she kept going, the heavier her train started to feel. Emily started to struggle more and more.
I can do it, I can do it, I can do it,
she puffed to herself, but she really couldn't. Crack! Her piston rods had broken. She could not pull the bit express any more.
Oh, no.
Defeated, she waited as her driver phoned for help. Percy and Paxton then came to take the express, and Baird took Emily to the works. When Emily arrived at the works, Gordon was there.
Hello, Emily. I heard you had the chance to take the big express.
Yeah, but it didn't work out as well as I hoped. I guess you were right. I broke down trying to take the big express.
Oh, well. At least you gave it a try. I'm sorry for being rude to you.
Same to you. I can see why you're the express engine.
Yes, of course, because no one can match my incredible skills.
Oh, brother.
And the two of them laughed and argued till the sun went down. Paxton is a diesel shunter who works at the Knapford shunting yards. He keeps busy pushing and pulling trains into place. Paxton is cheerful and friendly to everyone he meets. He's even friends with Diesel, and that says it all, doesn't it? One day, Percy came to the yards feeling very grumpy. "Cheer up, Percy," said Paxton. "It's a lovely day."
"It's been a very boring day for me," Percy groaned. "I've been helping Mavis at the quarry a lot lately. It's just been stone, 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 and trucks, 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 and I'm bored, bored, bored. I suppose you have more trucks for me?" "I'm sorry, Percy," said Paxton, and he showed Percy a long line of trucks. "Oh, bother. I just wish I could do something else. What about you?"
What about me?
"Do you wish you could do a different job for a change?"
Not really," said Paxton earnestly. "I like shunting. I'm not really interested in doing anything else."
"Suit yourself." And with that, Percy set off with his train.
A few days later, Emily was getting ready to take the big express, and Paxton was collecting the coaches. "Emily must be happy to be taking the express," he thought. "She must like the change." Paxton shunted the express coaches into place, and in a few short minutes, Emily set off. An hour or so later, Percy came into the shunting yards looking grumpier than ever. Paxton was just about to talk to him when the station master came up. "Emily's piston rods have snapped," he said. "You two are the only engines available. Please, go help her." Percy's frown turned into a smile.
"Hooray!" he cried. "Finally, something new to do. Come on, Paxton, let's show those passengers what we're made of."
And Percy raced off with Paxton following behind. Emily was looking defeated as Percy and Paxton arrived.
"Pulling the express is no joke," she said. "I hope you two can manage."
"Don't worry, Emily," said Paxton cheerfully. "We'll do wonders." Soon, Paxton and Percy were coupled up, and then were set off down the line. The journey was difficult, but Paxton and Percy did everything they could to try to stay on time. Gordon's Hill was soon in view. Paxton and Percy charged the hill, but the coaches felt very heavy here. It took a long time before the two finally reached the top. Percy was exhausted, but Paxton was excited for the sprint down the hill. At last, Paxton and Percy reached the final station. As the two engines caught their breath, Rosie cheered for Percy, Diesel cheered for Paxton, and Sir Topham Hatt, as well as all the passengers, cheered for both.
"So what did you think of pulling the express, Paxton?" asked Percy.
"It was fun," replied Paxton, "but I don't think I want to do it again. I like being a shunter, although I wouldn't mind doing another job every once in a while."
"Well," said Percy, I don't want to pull the express again either. It was tiring. I won't complain about pulling trucks ever again.
Paxton hoped that Percy was being serious, but knowing Percy, he'll probably start complaining again sometime soon. Douglas was brought from the Little Western to help with goods traffic on the main line. With Gordon currently being repaired, the other engines needed all the help they could get. Douglas enjoyed the change, but his fun would soon be cut short. On the day before Gordon was set to return, Douglas was taking a goods train to Marin Station. On his way, he overtook Emily as she was pulling the express. "How strange," he thought, "to think I'm moving faster than the express." Douglas looked forward and... Douglas bumped into a truck, a part of Bill and Ben's train. "Watch what you're doing!" Ben snapped, and before Douglas could reply, Ben and his twin zoomed away. Douglas was speechless. He continued on to Marin, but felt awful the whole way. And Douglas was still feeling awful once he returned to the Little Western the next day. Donald, his twin, could tell something was up. "Turn that frown upside down, Dougie," said Donald cheerfully. "It's a lovely day." "Oh, yeah, I suppose it is." Douglas paused awkwardly. "Can I ask you something, Donald?" he said at last. "Of course," said his twin. "Yesterday, I bumped into Ben's train because I was distracted. I didn't get the chance to apologize. I don't know if Ben wants an apology." "Do you want to apologize?" "Yes." "Then you should. It will make you feel better, and if Ben doesn't accept it, oh well, at least you won't have to worry anymore." "I don't know. How would I even get the chance to apologize to him?" "You could ask Sir Topham Hatt. I'm sure he can make a special arrangement." "Okay, I'll ask Ben tomorrow, but with Sir Topham Hatt's permission, of course." So Douglas explained the situation to Sir Topham Hatt. To his delight, Sir Topham Hatt agreed to the arrangement. So the next day, Douglas was coupled up to a goods train bound for Brendam and set off. On the way, Douglas kept thinking about what he was going to say to Ben. He was worried, but he knew that this was the right thing to do. He soon arrived at Wellsworth and was just about to head down the branch line when... "Ben? Douglas? What are you doing here?" "I'm taking a train to Brendam. What are you doing here?" "Well, I'm taking a train to Teignmouth. I didn't expect to see you here." "Me neither." There was an awkward silence. "Ben, I'm sorry for bumping into your train. I was distracted. I should have been able to stop sooner." "No," said Ben. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap at you. I was distracted thinking about something Edwards." "Yeah, but I damaged your goods. I could have stopped." "Yeah, but I missed the signal. You weren't supposed to stop." "So, I suppose we both messed up," said Douglas, "and we're both sorry. So, all's well that ends well." "Yeah, I guess so." "Did you talk to your twin Bill about wanting to apologize?" "Yes." "Did you do the same thing with Donald?" "Indeed I did. Ha! I suppose we're not so different after all, Ben." "I guess not, Douglas," laughed Ben, and with that, the two twins continued their work. One day, Duck chuffed into Wellsworth Station to find James waiting at the platform. James was feeling particularly proud. "You know, Duck, I don't think there's a single other engine on Sodor that is as amazing as me." Duck was not in the mood for James's boasting. "Oh, please, there are several engines who are more amazing than you." "Oh, yeah? Who? Have you ever heard of Duke?" "Of course I have. Thomas told us the story about him." "Have you ever met him?" "No." "Well then, how can you say you're more amazing than an engine that you've never even met?" And with that, Duck chortled away. "Pah!" snorted James. "Silly Duck. I'll show him. There's no way that Duke is more amazing than me." Duke is a very old engine. He was named after the Duke of Sodor, but he never boasts. He only wishes to live up to his grace's name. And some would say that he is the most amazing of all the little engines. But James was not impressed. "This is the Duke that's supposed to be more amazing than me? You impertinent scallywag, what on earth are you talking about?" Duck was completely wrong. No engine that small and painted brown of all colors could be as amazing as a big red engine like me. "Ha! What a joke! Size and paint color don't matter. It is all about determination. Not like you would understand. You would never suit his grace." James took no notice, and when the conductor's whistle blew, he began to leave the station when... "Ah! I've got a cramp!" An inspector came in and looked him over. "It seems that your brakes have jammed, James. You won't be able to move for a while." "Not so amazing anymore," laughed Duke. James seethed in silence. It had only been a few minutes when suddenly there was an alarm. "What's going on?" asked James. "Duck is running loose," shouted a workman. "We must clear this line now." "But I can't move," cried James. "He's going to crash right into me." "Oh, no, he won't," said Duke. "Quick, grab that rope and fasten it to me. I'll drag James over the points or burst." And so it was decided. The men worked quickly while the station master made sure all the passengers were evacuated. Soon, everything was ready. "All right, Duke, pull!" Duke pulled and pulled with all his might. Inch by inch, James slowly started moving backwards. "Peep, peep!" Duck was beginning to enter view. "Look out, James!" he wailed as he thundered closer and closer. Duke used every ounce of steam he had left. The workmen were shouting left and right. James shut his eyes. Clank! Zoom! James opened his eyes. Duke had pulled James back just enough for the points to change. Disaster had been averted. "That was close," gasped Duke. "Yes, thank you, Duke," sighed James. "I'm sorry that I ever doubted you. You were truly amazing." "That's all right," replied Duke. Duck was thankfully able to regain control of his train, and he returned to the station later that day. Sir Topham Hatt was with him. "A fine piece of work," he said. "It seems that we all learned valuable lessons today. Duck, be more careful with trucks. James, boasting only leads to trouble. And Duke, well, I suppose that you, as well as all of us, have learned that you are truly an amazing engine." "Thank you, sir," said Duke, all in an effort to live up to his grace. A special filmmaker had come to the island of Sodor. Each day he would drive in his car and then film the engines doing their work. Today he was hoping to get some beautiful scenes of the little engines at work. Sir Handel was taking a passenger train when he saw the filmmaker and his car standing behind the gate. Sir Handel whistled hello, but the filmmaker took no notice. Sir Handel felt insulted. "You'd think he would have at least waved," he said. "He can't wave back while filming," laughed his driver. But Sir Handel wasn't listening, and he continued grumbling down the line. Later, Sir Handel was passing through a gorge. He looked up and saw a car speeding on the road above. That looks like the filmmaker's car. He tried whistling hello again. But then, the car hit a bump and some rocks fell into the gorge, and one of them hit Sir Handel. "Ow!" he cried. "What was that for? And he dented my boiler!" Sir Handel was now very cross. At the next station, Sir Handel was seething. "How dare he dent my boiler? How dare he dent my boiler?" he growled. "Relax," laughed his driver. "It was just an accident." But again, Sir Handel wasn't listening. Just then, he saw the filmmaker standing on the platform. "How dare he come here? How dare he come here?" he muttered. "I should pay him out." "Don't be so spiteful, Sir Handel. It's not that big of a deal." Suddenly, the filmmaker came up to Sir Handel's driver. "I was hoping to get a scene from inside an engine's cab," he said. "Can I ride in Sir Handel's?" Sir Handel was furious. He hated the idea, but his driver disagreed. "Of course you can ride with us," he said. And so the filmmaker did. Sir Handel grumbled the whole time, and he was ready to do it for the rest of the afternoon. But then he got an awful idea. "He ruined my boiler, so I'll ruin his scene." Sir Handel started bouncing along the track. The bouncing caused the camera to shake, and the filmmaker couldn't get a good scene. "Steady, Sir Handel," called the driver. But Sir Handel still wasn't listening. He didn't care, so he continued to bounce along the line. That was until... "Try filming now," he laughed. Sir Handel felt very clever. But he wasn't laughing for long. Peter Sam arrived to help Sir Handel back on the track. Sir Topham Hatt was with him. "You have caused a disturbance," he boomed. "If you don't shape up soon, Sir Handel, I will have to make special arrangements. Do I make myself clear?" "Yes, sir," replied Sir Handel meekly. He now felt very silly. Sir Handel was soon back on the tracks, and he and Peter Sam took the train home. That evening, Sir Handel was sulking in the shed when the filmmaker came up to him. "I'm sorry I dented you," he said. "I didn't mean to. I was just so excited to film more scenes. I should have kept a better lookout." "Well, I'm sorry for ruining your cab scene," replied Sir Handel. "I'm sure it would have looked great if I hadn't interfered." The filmmaker laughed. "Sure, but because you bumped yourself off the rails, I was able to get a scene of 2 engines pulling a train. Now it's twice as good as before." "Well, Sir Handel," said his driver, "I guess everything turned out okay." Sir Handel laughed, and then he promised not to be so spiteful anymore. I really hope he sticks to this promise, but I'm not so sure if he will. Do you think so? High up in the mountains, into the heart of Sodor, there is a little railway run by a fleet of purple engines. These are the engines of the Culdee Fell Mountain Railway. These engines have worked on Sodor for a long time. Their line isn't the longest, but it is one of the most dangerous. When climbing up the highest mountain of Sodor, the engines always must take care that nothing goes wrong, or else they'd fall off Devil's Back. But no matter rain or shine, the mountain engines do their best to keep their railway running and to be really useful. One evening, Patrick was heading down Devil's Back when he felt a bump. What on earth was that? His driver examined the line. "A stone seems to have been jammed into the rats," he said. "There's a big hole in the rat rail now. We'll have to get it fixed." Patrick went down to Devil's Back Station. His driver informed the station master, who then informed the manager. "I'll send Coldy up in the morning," he said. "If we can't get the rack rails fixed, we can't run any trains." That night, Patrick told Coldy what happened. "It's very strange," Coldy said. "A stone couldn't have hurt the rails that badly." "What do you mean?" inquired Patrick. "I believe it was an act of sabotage." "Pooh! What rubbish!" scoffed Patrick. "What person would be silly enough to sabotage our railway?" Coldy was still worried all the same, and he didn't appreciate Patrick's attitude. Unfortunately, Coldy was right. A vandal had been messing with the tracks on Devil's Back, and that night the vandal bent the tracks just before the damaged racks with another stone, and then he ran away before anyone could notice him. The next morning, Coldy came up Devil's Back as he was told to. He couldn't have known about the bent tracks, and by the time he did, it was too late. The front half of the trucks was dangling off the side. Coldy held on tight as the workmen scrambled out of the trucks. It took a lot of hard work, but the workmen carefully got the trucks back on the rails. "Phew, that was close," sighed Coldy. The workmen got to work, mending both the bend in the rails and the damage to the racks. It was nearing nightfall by the time Coldy set back down the mountain. But before Coldy reached the station, he saw a suspicious man in the distance. "Hey, who are you?" shouted Coldy. It was the vandal. In an instant, the vandal turned around and started running down the mountain. "Police!" Coldy cried to the station master. The vandal continued running down the mountainside. He thought he was safe when he saw that Coldy wasn't following, but he wasn't so lucky. The police had arrived and the vandal was soon arrested. That night, the manager came to congratulate Coldy. "Well done, Coldy," he said. "Not only do you help me catch the vandal, but you also saved the lives of my workmen. You are a credit to the railway." Coldy was very pleased. Patrick wished he had taken Coldy more seriously beforehand, but at least no one was hurt, and that was all that mattered. It was the night of Christmas Eve, and Percy was delivering the last mail train for Christmas. He was getting ready to return to Titmouse Sheds when... "Here's a present for you," growled Diesel. "Oh, thank you, Diesel," replied Percy. "A train full of scrap, just what I wanted for Christmas." "Not for you," snapped Diesel. "It's for Eri and Bert. It needs to be delivered tonight. Take it with you on your way home." "Fine," said Percy. And with that, Percy set off into the cold night. As Percy chuffed towards the smelters, the wind became more chilly, and the rails became more icy. "At this rate, I'll get an icicle on my nose," he grumbled. Percy finally arrived at the smelters. The yard manager came up. "Move those trucks to the shed over there, then you're good to go home." So Percy shunted the trucks into place. "Boo! Wow!" "Scared you." Eri and Bert had been hiding in the sheds. "And a happy holidays to you too," retorted Percy. Percy wanted to leave, but he couldn't. There was trouble. "The points have jammed," said the yard manager. "You three will have to stay here for the night. We'd fix them now, but it's too cold out." "It's a shame you're stuck with us on Christmas Eve, Percy," sneered Eri, "because you have to deal with the holiday howler." "The what?" asked Bert. "Oh, right. The holiday howler." "What's the holiday howler?" asked Percy.
It's about the first diesel that was ever smelted on the island of Sodor. It was brought from the mainland on Christmas Eve on a cold, windy night like tonight. But once the diesel was smelted, it began to haunt the works like many before it. And every year on Christmas Eve, when the wind is pounding and the air is freezing, the holiday howler appears and it takes the souls of little steamies like you. That's ridiculous, said Percy. There is no such thing as ghosts. You just made the holiday howler up. And Percy moved as far back into the shed as he could, and before long he was asleep. Silly little engine, laughed Harry. That story wasn't real, right? Whispered Bert. Of course not, you dope. Now let's get to sleep too. And with that, he and Bert shut their eyes. A gust of wind had woken Harry and Bert. Percy was still sound asleep. It sure is cold out, shivered Bert. The wind doesn't help either, agreed Harry. Suddenly, there was a shrieking howl. Ooh! Percy woke up with a start. What was that? The snowflakes swirled in the air. They seemed to be forming a shape. The shape that looked like a diesel engine right in front of the three engines. No, that's impossible. It's the holiday howler! Ooh! On Christmas morning, the three engines were caked from top to bottom with snow. A workman had come to fix the points, but Percy, Harry, and Bert did not move. They were too scared, for they had seen the holiday howler. Eventually, Percy plucked up the courage to return home, and he was able to enjoy the Christmas festivities. But when he told the other engines about what happened, they found the whole thing to be silly. Thomas and Rosie just laughed, and Toby said that it must have just been their imagination. For Percy, Harry, and Bert's sake, I hope Toby is right.